Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz legend, composer, and educator Rufus Reid. We had a solid conversation about his new 2021 CD, Always in the Moment. We talked about COVID and so much more. He stands as one of today's premier bassists on the international jazz scene with a reputation firmly established in the educational arena. He opened up about the state of jazz today, the future, live music, and so much more. Have a listen.
Well, hey, man, thank you for taking a minute out. It's an honor to speak with you. I appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you asking me to participate.
Absolutely, man. So let's start off with your latest CD, Always in the Moment. And I want to know, this has been a very strange time on planet Earth for the last year and a half, with COVID. I mean, everything that's gone on, it's been very strange. What has it been like to be able to release new material during this time and to have, this avenue of communicating with your fan base?
It gives me a sense of belief that, this is what we need during this time of all the horrific things that have been going on besides the pandemic and the virus, and politically and otherwise. It's very gratifying to get the response that I've been getting, and very empowering to keep on doing what we're doing.
The one thing about artists during this time is, we've all been in the same boat, but the artists have had to really adapt and change during this. How do you see the jazz community emerging stronger because of what, it's had to go through during this pandemic?
Well, I would hope it would be stronger, but we don't know, because the artists, whether it be musicians or dancers or poets or novelists or any of that, people who are creative in their own little bubble, I think we should be thankful that we have our creative minds to keep us from going bazonkers, but I feel that I had time to do some things and to reflect on what's really important. Because there's all the things, you thought you were busy, but I can't even imagine how I'm busy now and I'm not doing anything. I hope we can become stronger. The indication I get from players, everybody's kind of hungry to play and to in person. We've had to adapt to this digital Zoom and what all streaming, et cetera, I guess it fills a void, but not really, because the nature of our music is really what happens in the moment, together and in person. That I think everybody's going to be, thus far, everybody's happy to be able to do this, and I hope it'll get better,
Yeah, I would say about a month ago there was more optimism because live music was picking up, maybe a month and a half ago, and things have obviously changed with the Delta variant, things that are going on. But did you get to play any live shows? Do you have any hope for the future for performances coming up?
Well, I just did something a couple of weeks ago. It was the second time of actually performing for a live audience, and it was very well controlled, and everyone had to show that they were vaccinated and whatnot, and it was very special. I did a trio with the pianist Steve Ali, drummer Lenny White, at the place called the Jazz Forum in upstate New York, and it was quite wonderful to play, and the people could feel it too, and we could feel the people. They really came out to really listen. This is what we miss. This is what we miss.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about the jazz craft is that, for your regular shows, say, in a market like Kansas City, numbers aren't that high, but I have a feeling that with this thirst that people are going to have for live entertainment and a higher appreciation for listening to music, I have a feeling that there might be a chance that jazz could become more popular than ever before, and live music could be embraced in a way that it was never embraced for quite a while.
Well, I'll go for that. No argument here. No argument here. We could certainly use it, that's for sure.
During this time of reflection, you've had such a wonderful career, decades and decades long, with so many cats. What has been the key to your longevity? Not only being longevity, but relevancy. You've always evolved and made wonderful music, and you've always adapted and moved along so well. What's been the ingredients for you that's made this work so well?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think that, to be quite honest, I think it's that the passion that I have and the consistency that I strive for, no matter who I'm playing with, comes across that effort has been made to make whatever situation happen. Because I firmly believe bass players are the ones that can completely sabotage every musical entity that we get involved with if we don't focus and throw down what's expected of us. So I think I'm getting a reputation of not being a jerk and being on time business, because it's a business. This is what I do for a living. If I kept being late all the time, you wouldn't be able to ask me that question or comment about that if it kept up, So, but the consistency of being able to bring to the table what the music is all about. And so it's a constant, I don't know, I work at it diligently to develop my sound and consistency and pitch and most of all just trying to, if it's to bring the pulse to the situation that everybody can feel,
There's a lot of musicians younger musicians that I'll interview that will cite you as an influence and somebody that resonates, a great wield of influence in the world of jazz. What did you learn from legends and luminaries that you were around as you were kind of starting out, as your career was going, that stuck with you, that you in turn have given to the youth that you get to play with?
Eddie Harris was my first professional boss, and he left. I still consider him being the most influential person in my career, in my life, because of his integrity. All he asked is that you be on time and be able to play. And at that time, and being able to play sometimes was more difficult for a lot of people. But he paid me on time. He paid me what he said he was going to pay, etc. And I try to do that to this day. I think it helps to create this sense of belonging. This person really wants me in the band. This person, he's hired me, but I have to learn how to stay in the band and do the music, but he's treating me like a human being, not just as somebody, an instrument that he needs, And I took that away, and I keep that with me at all times. So people who play with me can trust that they're going to be treated appropriately.
So you've received a number of accolades over your illustrious career, and I don't want to know what your favorite one was, but was there an award that you got that really surprised you, that just kind of threw you for a loop?
There were a couple, actually. Getting nominated for a Grammy in 2014 for my large ensemble Quiet Pride project, that was completely blindsided on that one, and the mere fact that I applied to get the Guggenheim and I received it, that completely, because you apply for grants and you apply for different situations and you just hope. But I said, well, I don't have anything to lose, but I got it, and I was able to complete some things that I wanted to do. So those two in particular were totally incredible and have empowered me to keep moving forward as best as I can.
Let's say you have a dream tonight and you run into your younger self around the time that you were hungry and you were starting out in your career. And you have to give your younger self one piece of advice. And this isn't a question about regret. This is merely taking the wisdom that we accumulate over all these years we live on Earth. What would you tell your younger self?
Wow. Don't give up for your dream. Because no one really knows how their lives are going to unfold. Even when I was younger, and when I saw Ray Brown for the first time live, I've been listening to him for years, but then when I saw him live, I said, that's what I want to do. But I don't know if that's what I could do, but that's what I wanted to do. And so you keep, so I tell a lot of the young players coming up, I said, keep your passion, and you have to believe in yourself, and you have to use common sense and understand what it is you're trying to do. To be a good musician is really not that difficult. To be a great musician takes more effort, and to be a musician who is able to have a career as a musician, that's a whole nother subject matter. So it's, there are a lot of elements. So it's just keep sight of what you want to do. Go for the goal, until something really doesn't happen. And once you get old enough, you either know that you're BSing to yourself, or you're trying to do something you really can't do. That's where the common sense has to come in,
Yeah.
And for me, I've been lucky. I have people who just tap me on the shoulder and say, yeah, man, keep going. That's all I need.
Every day you wake up, you're an artist, you get to create, and you've done it for a long time. What's been the most pleasurable part of being a professional musician for you?
Oh, boy. Being able to see other parts of the world, meeting new people, experiencing different foods of the world, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, being a musician is pretty amazing. And for me to go to Europe for the first time, it was like, wow, you can do that? And then I realized that there were people been listening to jazz longer than I even thought. It was pretty amazing when I found out that the music I'm playing is actually bigger than whatever I even thought was. So that kind of got me going too, to continue. It's pretty amazing. So to be able to travel, and it's difficult. I didn't say it was easy sometimes, but very gratifying, and I have great memories. I still have some not so great memories of traveling, but by and large, that what I say is really the best, to being able to travel and play for other people.
When I have the opportunity to speak with, what I would consider jazz elders and those on the top echelon of this craft, I wonder, and what I think about a lot is continuing to pass along this torch of jazz and jazz history and appreciation for this hallowed art form that we have. And my question to you is, how do you see that continuing with the younger generations? How do you see this continuance of the strength of jazzcraft getting moved on to successive generations?
I work with a lot of younger players doing residencies and different kinds of things throughout the year. And listen, the music is in great hands. Young players that are coming up that I see are going to be, you're going to know their names. I mean, it's very interesting for me now to open up the Jazz Times or the Downbeat magazine, and I don't know half of the people, or more than half of the people who are there now. I've heard of them, et cetera, but the playing field has totally changed, of course, certainly different from when I was coming up, but everyone is getting creative, and they're taking the day, and they're those who are very adamant about getting it better and making it work. It's different for everybody, but I'm encouraged that the music is in good hands.
during this time of lockdown, there was probably a big mirror put in front of all of us, and there was a lot of revelations that I'm sure we realized, a lot of things that we had to figure out and work through. Were there any special memories from the stage that you thought about since you couldn't be on stage and there was such a long drought with being in live performance? Was there anything that you would think about that would bring a smile to your face during that time?
Well, like you were talking about always in the moment. I mean, for me, I live for those things that happen on the bandstand that never happened before and they'll never happen again. And then we look at each other with eyes and smile or something. I mean, to me, that's that's the real music that is happening. I've had some of those moments that are very memorable in that regard. So they don't always happen like hopefully we would like them to be, because we don't have the regular, quote unquote, regular bands and things that you're talking about. I think only can really happen when bands actually function more than 1 or 2 nights or 3 or 4 months or 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 years. Things can develop that can never happen with any other people. To me, that's what most of the people love about the music, these recordings they hear and all these things that are going on. It's really an accumulation of that hands-on, working it out together, right or wrong, and becoming something out of nothing, in a sense, And to me, I live for that. I live for the unknown.
So with this new album and, even with, the recent albums that you've had, what do you hope the audience gets from what you're putting out? Your artistic creation that you're crafting for the audience, what do you hope they get from what you're putting out there?
I just hope that they enjoy it, and hopefully they would like to play it again. Not just, because our public are pretty fickle, If you're not dazzling them with some kind of pyrotechnical whatever, you're not supposed to be doing much. But I don't have anything to prove. I've been fortunate to play with some great people. I've never tried to play a zillion notes. When I listened back some of my younger days, I did play more notes than I even thought I could. But I want people to be able to play the music again. So, wow, I like that. Let me listen to that again. And to me, that's like when you play a gig, people want you to play it again. And to me, that's all I can ask, But I want my music to be enticing enough and engaging enough that somebody would like to play it again.
I like that. Everyone has a perception of Rufus Reid. Everyone has their idea of who they think you are. Your family, your friends, your large fan base around the world. But ultimately, you live your life. You wake up every day and you lead your life. What's your perception of you? Who do you think you are?
Oh, boy. You should ask my wife that.
Right.
No, but I mean, I put my pants on just like everybody else, and I take the garbage out, and I try to take care of the house and things that are non-musical, but I have been fortunate enough to do what I do. I'm just happy that I can do what I'm doing. My whole career has been playing and teaching, and now, I can't really talk about in terms of making money as a composer. I'm still a babe. Ask me about, hopefully in another 20 years, I might be able to say I've actually can make some money as a composer, but it's never been about a lot of money. It was just being able to. I never lived beyond my means. I've never tried to do that, and because why? It doesn't make sense. I'm just happy to be able to play my instrument, but during the pandemic, boy, it was just amazing trying to keep my chops up, because you're not playing. That's the hard part, you know. Practicing is one thing. Playing is a total another thing. So I'm happy to begin to get back to some playing.
Rufus, thank you. It's been a joy and a delight to talk to you. Good luck with the album, the return to the stage, and the great beyond.
Well, thank you so much, and I've got a lot of things in the works, and stay in touch. Okay.
Thanks for listening and tuning in to another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the world, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Rufus for his time, music, and cool. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino in the iTunes Store. Visit Neon Jazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.